Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a get ready with me while I talk about my IUD experience, birth control, contraceptives, all that type of stuff. So happy you're here. I hope you've been having a blessed week, and go ahead and make sure you like and subscribe to support my content and put it into the algorithm. I'm trying to grow the channel a little bit. I'm literally so grateful that I have been here for just a little bit over a month and already have 91 subscribers. Literally so amazing, such a blessing. I know that sounds like such a small number, but it means a lot to me, and I'm grateful to be able to do videos like this because they're so much fun, and I've always loved doing YouTube. So let's go ahead and get started. Getting the IUD, literally very traumatic experience. I'm gonna give you my honest opinion on the IUD, tell you what I feel like the pros and cons were, but let's go ahead and get started getting ready. We knew that having kids right away, well, actually Austin would probably be fine with it, but I knew that I did not want to have a child right away. I didn't want to be like literally just married and then like a second later, or I didn't want a honeymoon baby, basically is what I'm saying. So I was looking into contraceptive plans for us that would work best, and I know myself, and I know that I'm not gonna be able to take a pill every day. So I don't know if y'all got that willpower, but simply I don't. And I heard that, like, yes, it's effective, but like a ton of people have gotten pregnant on it. So I was like, maybe that's not the best option for me. So, because I did not want to take any chances. It was just really scary. And so I had a few friends that had gotten the IUD, and they said that they really enjoyed it. Like, it didn't give them a lot of the really bad things that I know some people talk about, but I actually had heard more negative things about the actual pill rather than the IUD. And so I was like, okay, I'm a very squeamish person, not when it comes to pain, but more so like the innards of the body. Like, I hate to lay my head on Austin's chest because I hear his heart beating, and that makes me want to throw up. I don't know what it is, but just knowing that we're alive kind of makes me want to puke. I don't know, it makes me a psycho, but I can't stand it. I can't stand hearing like how fragile I guess our bodies are. Like, and I know they're not like incredibly fragile, but it just kind of creeps me out. I don't really know how to feel about it. So getting something placed inside of my cervix, not even the pain part, because this is how I live life. If I'm expected to give a baby, like getting something like this thin pushed inside of it, I mean, that can't be comparable to giving birth, you know what I mean? And my mom, she literally gave birth to me naturally, not planned, but like still, like, kudos to her. And I've always thought that was actually insane. Like, I can't believe that she did that. Which, I know that sounds so stupid because literally we're women and our bodies have been doing this for centuries, and literally getting an epidural hasn't even been a common practice until very recently in the timeline of history. So I was like, you know what, like, if it's not sketchy. So I did a bunch of research on the IUD. Like, I was like, is this sketchy? Like, am I gonna get cancer? Like, all of this stuff. Oh, I had a friend, or like I heard, you know, through the grapevine that a lot of people were getting ovarian cysts because of IUDs, just because of like the hormones that it gives off. And I know that there's like a non-hormonal like copper IUD, but having metal inside of my body was not something that sounded like fun. So I was like, no for that either. And so I was literally like, okay, I'll just go, I'll go to the OBGYN, whatever they're called, or I'll go to the gynecologist for the first time in my life, which if you are interested in birth control or anything like that, you're gonna have to have a gynecologist appointment, and they most likely are gonna give you a pap smear, which I think is honestly, getting the IUD placed, I feel like a pap smear hurts more because they're like literally rubbing up on your cervix. Like, they take, oh my gosh, they literally take like a pipe cleaner and push it up your cervix a little bit and like move it around. Oh, nope, I hate that. I don't even like talking about it. It makes me literally want to throw up because it feels so uncomfortable, and you're in this chair and you're literally like open, like you're open. It just makes me want to puke. But anyway, I was at the gynecologist and she said that personally her favorite contraceptive to use, like that she recommends to her patients is the IUD, but she specifically, if you're not good at like routine and you don't want to take the pill, but the pill is a good option if you want to just like stop taking it at any point. So have you heard like bad things like, oh my gosh, I was so scared that the IUD would get like dislodged somewhere in my body, which was one of the main reasons that I ended up getting it taken out. Because I would feel like, so basically you're supposed to check the little strings that come out of your cervix, like your canal down there, and like feel for the strings. But I was always too scared to do that because I hate feeling the inside of my body. Like the same thing with the heartbeat. Like I just can't stand like flesh. Like that makes me want to puke. So that's honestly what happened. Was, we'll actually get to that later. But so I was like, okay, I'm gonna trust your opinion and I will try this IUD birth control. And she said that basically it doesn't hurt. She said that it's gonna be a little uncomfortable, but it should not hurt. And like some of my best friends had it. It said like they laid down for 15 minutes, which is like you're supposed to lay down 15, 20, 30 minutes. And we'll keep going into it. So I come in to get my IUD put in, I think it was like a few weeks after, and it was 2 days before Thanksgiving. So I go in to get it put in and I am starting to get so freaking nervous. My butt is sweating and I don't know if you've been to the gyno, but it's always this like paper layer that's like on the bed that you're supposed to lay down on. And my butt was literally making the paper tear because it's like a thin paper, like a little thicker than, or not even thicker, just a different material than, what is it called? Toilet paper. And I literally was like about to pass out because I was so nervous. I was just so nervous because I've been getting a ton of like horror stories about the IUD on my TikTok page, which TikTok is sometimes a good way to get information, but also sometimes not the best place. So I swear the wait to either get it put in or removed, that waiting for the doctor in that room, your heart is racing. I'm praying to the Lord, Jesus, help me through this. Finally, she comes in and she was like, okay, we're gonna do this quick and fast. She knew that I was incredibly nervous. And so she's like, okay, come on and scoot your butt down, like open wide, you know what it is. And so I'm so nervous. I swear, I don't know who she thought I was, but this woman was like, and I have no tea with her, but she probably thought like I was like clenching down there, and she was like, there's no need to be nervous, just relax. She said, just relax. And I was like, bruh, she did not just say just relax. When I hear that, this freaking makes people go and pass out. So I was like, okay, I'm trying to relax. And I said, it literally feels like those forceps are pinching me, you know, like the metal things that they crank you open with. It felt like it was literally pinching me. I was like, I can't relax because I'm getting pinched. And she was like, okay, maybe you need a smaller size forcep. Girl, yes, I need a smaller size forcep. What are you talking about? Like, oh my goodness. She ends up putting another forceps in and it didn't pinch as bad, but it still was pinching. Like, it's still so uncomfortable. Like, you don't know this lady. Like, you've had 1 or 2 appointments with her and she's like literally in your biz, which I get it. Like, she's a doctor 100%, but it's still like, you're still uncomfortable. Like, of course she has her own opinions about you. It's like, it's gonna be on the count of 3. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting so nervous. And she literally put it in. And I thought I didn't think she put it in. It barely felt like anything. Like, it felt less than what a pap smear did. And I was absolutely shocked. I said, there's no way. It's in. I was like, no way. I didn't feel like anything. Like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for your help. Like, literally, you're amazing. I've been hearing like horror stories and you just did this and I didn't even feel like anything. This is not the end of the story. So she leaves and she's like, you're just gonna have to lay down here for about 15 to 25 minutes whenever you feel comfortable to get out, and then we'll schedule a just a follow-up, make sure everything's in place and good down there. And I was like, okay, perfect, thank you so much, sweet lady. And so she leaves the room and I'm laying down. I think it had been about 5 minutes past, and keep in mind this appointment already took way longer than it was supposed to. Also, They tell you to take like a 800 milligram pill of Tylenol, or not Tylenol, ibuprofen, and I accidentally took Tylenol instead. They are not the same. My body, literally nothing changes when I take Tylenol. But I'm literally on my way to my appointment and I had to stop at a gas station because I freaking forgot, and the only thing they had was Tylenol. Don't forget. Oh, that was the worst thing. Cramping doesn't start immediately. Well, this is my experience. This was my experience. Some people they pass out the second they put it in, say it's the worst pain they've ever felt in their life. Some people try to say it's worse than birth. Personally, cannot relate to that experience in the slightest. But that aftermath, it had been almost 10 minutes, I would say. And I stood up off of that bed and I was fine. I was scared to stand up, but I did it because I was scared like that it would feel weird. Felt fine. Walked out of the room into the hallway. And this is a hospital setting doctor's office. So literally like there's an emergency room on the other side, on the other wing of the building. And like you walk into where I was going and then like there's multiple floors and elevators, and there's like a pediatric office down at the bottom. There's OBGYN, there's like a chiropractor. And I was on the second or third floor, I believe. So I walk out to the front desk lady and I was like, I have to schedule a follow-up appointment. I think I have to go now. I started feeling the worst intense cramps I've ever felt in my life. Period cramps, no, doesn't even compare. Does not even compare. Because I literally was about to pass out. I was like, never mind, I'm gonna call for a follow-up appointment. I'm sorry, I have to freaking go. So I walk to the elevator. The elevator door closes. I start passing out. I have never passed out in my entire life, okay? I get down to the first floor and I open up and I was literally praying. I was like, God, no, please don't let this happen right now. And I run into the pediatric office and I was like, I literally said to the front desk person, I said, I'm about to pass out. And I literally laid on the, I am cracking up that this happened, but it literally did. I started laying down on the chairs. These kids in this office are like, what the crap is happening to this woman? Front desk lady runs, do a rep. This was like peak COVID. Like I was having a mask. I undid my mask. I said, I'm passing out. I gotta go. And oh my gosh, she brought me water. She was like, keep in mind, she's like 3 floors down. She was like, where did you come from? Like, what doctors were you at? Do I need to call your doctor right now? And I was like, no, I'm fine. This is how women are. I'm fine. As I'm literally dying. I'm literally dying, okay? And she was like, okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get you a cold wash rag. So she hurries up and she gets me a cold wash rag. And she said, I'm gonna go sit at my desk because I have to check some people in, but just stay here and let's make sure that you're okay. Like she was like, is someone picking you up? And I was like, no, I drove myself. She was like, oh. And then, so she was like, you need to make sure that you're okay. Okay, I'm sitting there. And all of a sudden, I am about to explosively let stuff go, like by the back end. I am about to legit like, I abracadabraed out of there. Like I disappeared because there was a like main bathroom out in the hall. And like I said, keep in mind, this is like a big building. Like it is a hospital. I go into that bathroom. There's people in the other stalls. I'm poop and pee shy. I don't know about y'all. I'm poop and pee shy. I sat down on that toilet and almost passed out. I was literally like, say these are the stall. I'm like, and then you just hear coming out from the back end. I'm not kidding. This was the craziest thing. And I'm literally saying, I'm sorry, like, because I knew like the other people were probably like traumatized, and I'm saying, whew. I'm like, guys, I can't even describe to you. I looked it up, and sometimes your body does this when there's a massive hormonal shift, or when like you've almost passed out and your blood sugar drops, like, because I was white in the face, okay? And that receptionist lady, she's like, oh my gosh, where did that girl go? I know she's not trying to drive right after that just happened, because I was literally passed out. I was like, oh. So she comes into the restroom and she's hearing me let it rip. I'm saying like I'm hitting the walls. Oh, and I keep my mom, by the way, I'm calling my mom in the middle of all this, but my mom is so confused and scared because she has no idea what's happening because I keep passing out mid phone call. So I'm like, Mom, go pick me up. But she didn't know exactly because my OBGYN, they have multiple offices. She was like, which one are you at? And then it hangs up. And then I'm like, Mom, come get me now and bring a boy. Like one of my brothers, I was like, and then I pass out and then she did, guys. So that receptionist lady walks into the restroom and she's like, ma'am, are you in here? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh my goodness, are you okay? I was like, have you gotten an IUD before? I'm not sure what's happening, but I think I'm gonna die. I literally, oh my gosh, I was like, I'm so embarrassed that I'm farting in front of you and literally letting it rip. But I don't know what's happening, a reaction in my body. And she's like, no, you're so fine. I'm just gonna stay with you to make sure everything's okay. And I was like, thank you. And she's like, I'm gonna bring you more water. She brings me more water and everything. And I'm in there for probably 30 to 45 minutes. I'm saying letting it go ham, y'all. And I looked it up, apparently it has something to do with your hormones or a traumatic response. But I can't get over it. I cannot get over that happened to me. And so time had passed and I told the lady, I said, you can seriously go back to your job. I think I'm fine now. I'm just having really, really bad cramps and stuff, but I'm totally fine. And she was like, okay. And oh, she said, yeah, I did have an IUD, but I didn't have this experience. And I was like, oh. So my mom finally found out where I was and she came to the rescue and picked me up. God bless my mother. And one of my brothers came, I forget which one. But he drove my car home and my mom drove me home and she's like, what was your experience? What happened? And I told her everything and she literally could not believe it. She was cracking up. She was like, girl, just wait for birth. And that was seriously, guys, no exaggeration. That was absolutely insane. But once I got home, the cramps eventually subsided and I was fine. My experience with the IUD, so I had it for an entire year. I got taken out this past November, so I had it for a whole year. And my experience is that honestly, after the cramps went away and everything, it was great. I didn't have any problems with it after that. And I just wonder what would have happened if I would have laid down for that 20 to 35 minutes that was recommended. Because obviously I was supposed to wait way longer than I did. I literally got up, not even, it was 100% not even 10 minutes after I got it put in. And so I'm just was this my fault? Did I do this completely, that was my fault? Or what happened? Back later, 2 weeks later, and I didn't even tell my doctor about what happened. I was just we'll leave that in the past because I'm not gonna tell her that I literally almost freaking died in the elevator and literally emptied my guts out. So that's my IUD experience when getting it put in. But like I said, the entrance of it did not hurt. The implanting of it did not hurt. And my periods afterwards, they became so light. I mean, I'm gonna miss this, or I do miss this so much. And my cramps, they were maybe a little bit more tense, but your periods were nothing. But the reason I ended up deciding to get it out is I literally started having panic attacks that something was inside of me. And like I said earlier, you're supposed to check, but I could not bring myself to check. But one time I was convinced that it got dislodged in myself. I'm a hypochondriac, so I was like, oh my gosh, I have to figure out if this is inside of me or not. So I tried to check up there and I could not find the strings. I could not find the freaking strings. So I scheduled an appointment with my OBGYN and I was like, y'all, I have to get this taken out. I think it's obstructed in my body somewhere. They were like, we can almost assure you that that's not the problem. The main times that even happens is when it's been in for way too long and you have not even barely had it in for a year. And I was like, okay, well, I went in anyway and oh my gosh, the extraction of it did not hurt at all. Sweet angel. I was so freaking nervous. Oh, but I will say she couldn't find the strings. She was like, I don't want to scare you now because I know that you were already a little bit worked up about not knowing if it's there or not, but I simply can't find the strings. She literally couldn't. So she had to get like this like Q-tip like this long. She kept tickling my cervix, and she said that she was just having to like move it around, like it might have been like, she said it could have been curled up or something. We found it, but no. This is what's so funny. I love her. She, okay. No, I can't find it, but and then she pulls it out. And I'm like, you can't find it. Like, I'm getting so nervous. And I look down and she has it. She pulled it out and I didn't even know. That's how much I can't even tell. But I will say, one of my other symptoms that I was getting from having the IUD was I started to get like abdominal pain during special time with my husband, and I was like really nervous about that. I feel like I'm almost positive that I might have an ovarian cyst, but like they're really common, and I think it might be due to the IUD. I don't know if I do, and I don't care to check because it gives me like anxiety. I know that that can cause a little bit of pain, and so that's really my story with that. But now I have been doing basal body temperature and like really tracking my cycle, which I hate that while I was on the IUD I didn't track my cycle because I was like, oh, like whatever. But then I lost like over a year of like information, because before I got the IUD I tracked my cycle and I could tell when I was gonna start my period and all this stuff. But it's been really like I've had to like relearn my entire cycle. I've kind of realized that I am a little bit irregular in the sense of like sometimes my cycles will be 27 days and sometimes they'll be like 30 days. Usually my cycle is like about 8 to 29 days long, but I've had it like on both ends. So I'm not exactly sure what's happening to me, but I've been using this basal body. So apparently there's a difference between just like a regular thermometer and a basal body temperature thermometer. And I just like take my temperature before I do anything. Like, you're not even supposed to talk, open your mouth or anything. You have to make sure that you've been sleeping, or like that you slept for at least 3 hours before taking it, because like that's when your body's at complete rest. And you're supposed to take the temperature when you're about to start your period. It like drops, and then when you're like ovulating it goes super high. I think it's called like natural family planning or something. But if you follow this to a T, it's almost just as accurate as like other forms of birth control. And I know that I didn't want to be on birth control for a long time, and I had always felt that way because I just think it's absolutely insane that we're expected to take artificial hormones in our body. Like, obviously that's messing you up. Like, I do not care what any doctor, like, you cannot tell me that that is okay. Oh, and speaking of, a UK study just came out the other day that I read that if a woman is on hormonal birth control pill for 5 years consecutively, then she has a 7% increase of cancer. And it didn't say what specific cancer or anything, but, and I think that that has to be the same for IUD because it's giving off the same exact hormones as the birth control pills. Personally, I've had a lot of like changed opinions on birth control, in the sense of like, personally, I don't want something like that to be in my body. I just know that it's definitely not helping me, in the sense of like, my body's a temple and you should honor it, and like if you know something is not going to be good for it, probably shouldn't do it. That's been my little tea on the IUD. You can definitely do some research on like BBT and find out like if that's something that you would want to do. As of right now, that's what's working for me. I feel like we are not informed as women when we were younger, like in gen ed, or not gen ed, yeah, is it gen ed? I don't even, physical education, like when you go in like middle school or whatever, to learn about like the human body and the reproductive system, all of that stuff. I feel like we are not told about our cycles and like how, like when we're fertile and everything. And the thing is like the egg drops for literally only fertile for like 5 days, and not even like, you can only get pregnant 24 to 12 hours of your entire cycle. But sperm lives inside of the body for up to, I think, like 5 to 7 days or something. So you have to be careful about when you're planning on getting done with your husband, but that way you know, oh, during that fertile window or whatever, we'll use like other preventative measures. Husband and wife, you should both be educated on your bodies and to plan getting down. So yeah, it's super interesting actually. I love learning about it and just like learning how like the body works, because I think it's just another way you can see God in creation, like how we are so uniquely made. It's so amazing. And like I said, I just want to disclaim, my experiences were my experiences. I'm not claiming to give you any health advice at all. I am by no means a doctor. I just know how I feel personally, and that if that's something that works for you, it works for you. I knew long term that was not going to be something I wanted, and it did its purpose for when I had it, and I'm grateful that it did. I'm just gonna put oil on my hair. I don't really want to put heat in it today. I really want my hair to grow longer. And I've been trying to eat healthier and like do things that are supposed to be like taking vitamins and everything for hair growth, and I feel like my hair has gotten a little maybe thicker, but I don't know if it's gotten longer, which I did get it trimmed up a bit when I did get my hair done. I thought this was so fun to film and just hang out with you guys and let you guys get to know me a little bit more in depth.